got the stuff poured out, I decided to, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, you probably can. I decided to just stay a little bit below the rim. And they're pretty much equal. And now I got to have some kind of a stick around here. This will work. Sand it off a little bit so it's flat. Okay, that's ready to go. And I'm going to pour this stuff in here. Now, you got to have, you can't contaminate it. So what I'm going to do is pour the white in here first. And I got to use the white stick to get the rest of it out, to get as much as you can out of it. All right, that's good. Throw that back in there, put that on there. Stick this on top because that goes with that. Now, this is the real rocket science-y of this thing. White, something, paint, epoxy, black, epoxy, put them together. What color you get? Gray. That, you know, don't take much, you know? Don't take much. Now I can use the stick that I'm going to actually mix it with to do this. So now you put A into B, A into B. Always do that. I don't know why. It's what it says in the instructions, so I follow the instructions. Been doing it for 30 years. That's the way I do it. Yeah, you're supposed to wear gloves, and yeah, you're supposed to wear a mask, and all this nonsense. You know what? I've been doing this for years. I'm still alive. Okay, now I'm mixing it up. Now, you got to mix it good. You got to get in there, got to get the sides mixed. And then once in a while, when I'm mixing it, I still got to mix it up again, even though it looks like it's mixed, but it ain't. So now here it is. Now, you got a pretty good working life of this, working time. Here it is right there. There it is. Gray epoxy. Okay, now, here we go. And I want to start pouring it in the corner. Just slow. It'll go all around. It'll go over top a little bit, don't matter. And just fill up all the spokes. Okay, now you can make sure it gets in there, everything. You know, it's just a little white starting to show up. I can just mix it a little bit. And then you mix it up. But I can see right now, I'm not going to have enough. So I'll mix up a little bit more real quick so I have enough to do the other mold. Okay. Sometimes I don't do that. Now I want to fill that up because it's a thin mold. So I'm going to pour a little bit more black, half of what I'd use there. Not even half. Half. Okay, good enough. Put the cover on it, keep it dry. Stuff does pick up moisture. And then the white, now, yeah, okay, we can weigh it. We can do all that nonsense. You know what? Eyeball. Okay, there you go. It's the same height, I can tell. Okay, now I need that white thing. Put it in here. All right, it's been about half an hour now, and I had to get this out right away. I stopped to eat lunch, and and I needed to get this out because just as it starts to get warm, it's still warm. Just as it starts to get warm is when you want to pop it out. It's a little bit soft. It's not so rock hard because as soon as it starts to get cured up, it starts to shrink just a little bit. Enough, the overall thing slightly shrinking grabs that pattern and you have trouble getting it off. So here's the pattern after it's all done. Now what I do with that is I put it away. And eventually it goes with the mold. And here's the mold. And you see all these little edges on here. That is where the repro is so fine that it went right up underneath because it's not totally tight underneath there. So when it gets all set up and everything, I take a little file and clean all them up and go through everything, make sure there's no dingleberries on there and get it all cleaned up. And then that's your mold. It don't have to be perfect. It only has to come up to here. So now when I pour the new repro in there, around the pins, pull the pins, and then smooth that off. That's one. Pop it out of there. And I'll probably put a couple of pop things over here. Hole screw that I put dum-dum on and then pop it out. Now here's the other mold. That's the other mold, and I just, of course, it doesn't have a frame around it because the frame was a reusable one. You know, I just knocked it off when I was done. Just pop it right off. I wax that up too, and I'll just take that and put it on the sander and knock all that junk off here and clean it up, and wash it and sand it and get it all cleaned up. Make sure it's all nice and smooth, and put a couple of pin things to pop them out. You have to put something in there to pop it out, just in case. Most of the time, if I hit it with something like that, with the rubber mallet, it'll pop off, but not usually. So anyway, that's that. This will get put away with this. That's over with. It's done. Now I got a whole box of them over there, whole shelves of them. All right. Next step was we're going to pour these. All right. I didn't know I was going to have enough time today to do this part of the video, but I guess I do. So what I'm going to do now is I've got this mold ready. I pulled it out. There it is. I waxed it up, sanded it off a little bit with sandpaper, make sure everything's all smooth and so on. And got the pins in. They extend through. It doesn't matter. They extend through. And I'm going to pour in there up to the top, a little bit over the top. And then when it sets, I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to face that off, whether I do it with a file or do it on the belt sander, this sander, whatever. Just get it flat. And then I've made holes here, 3 holes, 3 additional holes. And if you look in there, you can see, let me see. Yeah, right over here, there's one, right here, right there. That's clay there. And this thing fits, it's small, the hole's small, bigger, so it doesn't bind up. It's smaller, it's bigger than the hole for the pins. Look at that, that pin fell right through. Well, that's okay, that's the middle one anyway. And that goes in. And so it doesn't bind up. And then we knock it out, the dum-dum stops the stuff from, the repro from going through. And let that set up and so on. I did the same thing with this one. You can see it. 2 in the corners up on the top and then one right in the middle, right there. That's a knockout. And I cleaned this mold up, it's ready to go. And I just put the stuff in there, just bring it up to the top, on a sander, belt sander, and mix the parts. So, just about ready. Now I got to figure out roughly, probably half of what I was making before. Not even that. Probably going to overdo it, but that's okay. First one, I'll know this. I got the stuff A and the B, I'm mixing. I got those all waxed up, ready to rock and roll. Black and white make what? Gray! Okay, now here we go. Just pour it in. Ain't rocket science, my friends. I'll let you know when it's rocket science. Pour it around slowly so it doesn't trap air. Can't really trap air. Here we go. Now I'm going to have not enough. I'm going to have to pour a little bit more. Make a little bit more real quick. Make up a little bit more real quick. Real quick. And that's good. Ready to go. On to the next one. 2 of these, 2 wheels, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to make a match plate. All right, back again. It's been about 20 minutes. Thing's hard as a rock. Okay, and I took this one, faced it off already. I just dusted it on the disc sander, okay? And we're going to try to attempt to get this out of this mold without punching it through the back. Let's see what happens. Now, believe it or not, you can wrap it all day long on the back side. It ain't going to come out. You got to hit it on the front side. See it there? I'm going to knock it a little bit more. There it comes. Whoop. Now, these things will take a set. So what you got to do I used a good old saw, poor saw, put it down on there until it sets up. It'll take a set. That's pretty much ready to go again. I got to fill in the holes with the dum-dum. Now I'm going to take this one, you can see it on there where it's higher than the edge of the mold. I'm going to use it on a disc sander. But let me just tell you something about that. This stuff here, the dust is so fine. You should really be wearing a mask, but if you don't have a vacuum system, I have a vacuum system on my disc sander, so that's what you're going to hear in a minute. I'm going to face it. All right, now you can just see the outline of it. I face this flat with this. Now I'm going to attempt to do the same thing by wrapping it. By the way, I pulled all the pins out before, so I'm going to wrap it. Now after a while, when you're doing a lot of these, there she comes. She's coming right out. Get this corner. Let me just turn it around. A little bit more. Rocket scientry, right? Look at that. Perfect wheel. It's better than wood because I smoothed it all out wherever kind of wood little butchergaloop dingleberries was on it. And I'll still probably sand these a little bit, but let that harden up overnight and that'll be solid. Now, like I told you, this right here, the ring, is going to go on here like this right here. It goes on here like this. And there'll be a hub in the middle. Now you say, well, what is all that about? Well, let me just tell you this. Let me show you two drivers. Here's a driver pattern that I made for a big heavy duty wheel, 80-inch wheel. You see the back? It's got a rim on it. So that means that when I go to face this, I only have to face there and there. I don't have to go over the spokes, okay? So that's my thought on that. Now this is the Mikado driver, Railroad Supply, completely flat. Drive you nuts. Take you forever to face it. So that's why I don't do it. Okay, I'm going to get this mold ready, pour another one, and then we're ready to go to the match plate after that.